Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Move podcast, brought to you each and every day this year by Ventum Bikes. I love my road bike, my NS1, my gravel bike, my GS1. They got the new adventure bike coming out, which I just figured they'd call the ES1. Hopefully they take my recommendation. It says here in the notes, George, it's about time you get on a Ventum.
It says it in the notes?
It says it right here in my notes.
Wow.
Special offer for our listeners, 10% off if you go to ventumracing.com/themove. The checkout code there is WeDo. That's for 10% off. If you don't get the bike within 3 weeks, which is a heck of a deal, another 10% off. So ventumracing.com/themove. So we are talking about stage 21 for the final time this year. Of course, over at the coverage of the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift, we have George's better half, Melanie Hincapie, doing the readings. But Alain, what did we do today?
Stage 21 from Paris La Défense Arena to Paris Champs-Elysées. From Paris La Défense Arena to Paris Champs-Elysées.
I don't think I could ever learn that language. I mean,
you did a pretty good job back in the day when you were.
Oh, don't you pull this stuff up?
We do have some good interviews. I'm not going to pull them up today because we weren't ready for it, but just reminded me.
We have on the line, whether you're listening or watching, Johan Bernil over in Madrid. Johan, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me again, guys. I missed you.
Yeah, likewise. And then also to my left, JB Hager. And to JB's left, we have George Snaggletooth Hincapie.
Oh, my God.
We were in the pre-show. This is too good. And you know, I caught like an angle and I saw this gap.
No zoom on G today.
And I was like, dude, what's wrong with your tooth? The man chipped his tooth yesterday. He thinks he did it riding.
Or you did something to me. You sabotaged me somehow.
If you guys could, we'll try to get a close.
You're not going to get any pictures of me smiling today.
Listen, the man will let his guard down. We'll get a zoom in, and but we'll get into all the action, not just from today's stage, but from the 3 weeks. It was a hell of a tour. I think. I mean, it was one of the best we've seen in a long, long time.
I think it's the best that we've covered since this show began.
Yeah, you could argue that Pogačar coming back in that time trial was nobody saw that. Well,
in 2020.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty damn exciting. But over the course of 3 weeks, this thing was very exciting. I think. Today's show also brought to you by Element. This is our go-to hydration source. We talk about it all the time when we're out pushing ourselves and constantly sweating and needing to replenish. Element is the one that we go to. 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium, no sugar, no gluten, no artificial BS, and apparently is also really good to help broken teeth.
Oh, man, he's not going to let it go. He's not going to let it go.
I ain't letting it go. Special offer for our listeners. Head on over to drinklmnt.com/themove. And with every purchase, you get a free sample pack, so you can try all the different flavors and kind of dial in the ones you like the most. That's drinklmnt.com/themove. Also today, brought to you by Roka. No matter how many times I wear the Rokas, and I could have put them on today, I still would have looked across and seen this gap in George's tooth.
It's gonna be
the whole show is gonna be like, stage 21. G's
I would
tooth
have need Roka's blacked out shades to not see. I would. But in all seriousness, the sunglasses they make, top of the line. The prescription glasses, my reading glasses, top of the line. We all big believers there. Rob and his whole crew love to push themselves, love to push the product. Therefore, they really have built the best sunglasses out there. It's totally lightweight, no slip. The optics are incredible. Special offer for our listeners, 20% off. Just go to Roka, that's ROKA.com for 20% off, and use the code THEMOVE. We've had sprints like this in the past where we sort of ask, and chime in whenever you want, but where we've wondered where the cannon was in the middle of the Champs-Elysées because somebody shot Jasper Philipsen out of a cannon. That was he came. And we've also talked about this. It's so deceiving when they show that head-on angle because it looks almost close. Then they show you the overhead. He won by, as you said in our pre-show, Johan, it's the first time in a long time that anybody has won on the Champs-Elysées in a breakaway. It looked like that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He had a big gap in that sprint. The sprint has changed, but since back in our day, it's about, I want to say 400 meters longer after that right-hand turn. Before, it was like you had to be second place or maximum third place around that last corner. Now you can go a little bit further back, as we saw. Jasper was about 6-7 back behind his teammate, perfect position, and just launched right at the perfect time and did the old Alpe d'Huez LA look.
I think we actually this is and hats off to Colton for catching this. When you watch the finished video, watch this look he gives Groenewegen in the middle of the sprint. Watch. Oh.
Wow.
How did
That is
they?
like, yeah.
I mean, I would love to ask him, like, what were you thinking? That was
Johan, he's not even their best sprinter. Is he? Isn't Melier on paper better than him? Or
They obviously the team believes more in Philipsen than in Merlier, because I had some conversations with the management of the team, and they invested quite heavily in him to extend his contract, whereas Merlier went to Quickstep, right? But I also think it has to do with personality. The guy is an amazing guy, apparently, really, really, down to earth, and fits in that team really well. And so he was their priority over Tim Merlier.
And special shout out to you and Spencer Martin on the Outcome Show. You guys did pick Philipsen to win today. I think we'll try to pull up the data, but the data and the picks that you guys rolled out for 3 weeks, I mean, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, I think, we are quite happy with the overall result. I don't have the exact numbers, but it feels to me like we had quite a few times the winner. And then, on the head-to-heads, I think we did really well, which is a whole different game. But yeah, I mean, outcomes did well, I think, overall.
And just as a reminder, that's our if you're interested in sports betting, we're not saying that you should or ought to, but if you do place a little side action on sports, of course, the Tour and other events in cycling have the possibility to bet. And so we thought we'd spin up a show and let you guys get as educated as possible. So Johan and Spencer have a show that is exclusive to members. It's behind the portal, but based on if only Cam would have added a couple zeros to all our bets, I'd be out of here.
What was the final percentage?
We're working on the percentage. We basically, we're up 3.5x.
Nice.
Wow.
So.
Before we move on from the sprint, you saw that look from the side angle. Now we can take a look at that from the front view and the overhead view, which really gives that perspective of how fast Philipsen was.
Looks for the sprint to start to happen. Pedersen is there. Philipsen is there.
Yeah, you can see Groenewegen got left out a bit too early, 250 meters to go on a slight uphill finish. Not
there's
ideal.
the look. There's the look.
But I don't think anybody was touching Philipsen today.
No, and there was some pushing going on there between Christoph and Caleb Ewan, but that was completely irrelevant to
Agreed.
the outcome of the sprint.
It was
Now,
irrelevant.
this really gives it perspective when you look at
angle.
it. Ooh.
Look at that acceleration. I mean, when he cuts right, he's going twice as fast as everybody else. That is unbelievable. Not even close. And for a sprinter, I mean, I
Still threw the bike.
Yeah, exactly.
well,
That's like the instinct of the sprinter.
he was in the breakaway, so he's trying to get as much time as possible.
Johan, talk about all these teams that are going home empty-handed. I mean, I think, what is it, 10 teams? A lot of big teams that get paid a lot of money, have huge budgets, and come home empty-handed. What's tonight's dinner looking like, and what's the next few weeks going to be looking like for these teams?
There's a few. I mean, there's obviously going to be a few teams. I think, for example, if you look at, for example, Arkea, right? Arkea, it's a second division team, French team. They were in the picture. Quintana was sixth. So, there's something to celebrate, I would say. That for them, it's okay. For them, it's okay. Not for Quintana, but for them. But, the majority of these teams who didn't win anything, it's, most of those teams don't even stay there. They get on the plane straight away and they fly home. Why would you stay to celebrate? You want to be with your family, you want to rest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like most years people do something at least at the end, but now I think with COVID that's changed. Like there isn't big parties anymore, and a lot of the teams. I mean, last year some of these guys were on planes heading to Tokyo for the Olympics. So
yeah.
But I would imagine Jumbo's going to have a big party.
Oh man,
Of course,
I hope so.
Of course, yeah, of course.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
I'd like to show up to that.
I mean, this is also, if you look, I mean, if you look at Jumbo-Visma, this is. If you go back, this is basically the continuation of Rabobank.
Yep.
This is Rabobank, and
before also going back all the way to
before that it was Super Convex and WordPerfect and all these teams, So I think it started in 1984. 1984 was Quantum Hallen, which was the team of Jan Raas and a certain Adrie van der Poel was on there. And now finally, after so many years, they win the Tour de France. Amazing performance for them. This is the team right now which will put the limits higher. They are the benchmark. I think they overtook Team Sky / Ineos from 10 years ago. And I think, yesterday, Bradley Wiggins, who you guys had a guest, made a good point, and it was clear that they were kind of the pioneers of the scientific data and basically, getting real specialists for every specific section on board. But I think that Jumbo-Visma took it to a higher level.
Yeah. So, and just to put it into perspective, so for the first time since 1997, a team wins yellow and green. And for the first time since 1969, do they win yellow, green, and polka dot.
Yeah.
Shows you how rare it is.
And the white jersey didn't exist at that time.
But he wouldn't have, he's not in that competition.
Yeah, I think they doubled down on the scientific approach to cycling. I mean, of course, back in our day, we really focused on equipment and training. I mean, these guys, they have the world's most renowned nutritionists, the best trainers in the world. I think the equipment, everything, they have not missed a detail. And we're going to see a lot of these other big budget teams try to follow in their footsteps for sure.
I mean, for people who are interested, there is somewhere. I mean, there's a video on the internet about their headquarters. Their service course, but it's massive. It's like a big industrial building, and if you think back on, we can talk about what we had, right? And at some point we said, we're okay. We're quite well equipped. But if you see this is pure science fiction. It's unbelievably well organized. It's crazy. I mean, it's very nice, super nice, but it's really well organized. And this team, I think you can start to compare this with a Formula One team, where you have all the staff around one specific project and work towards the same goal.
And with this Netflix series, we'll be able to get a lot of the inside, behind the scenes look at what they're actually doing. So that should be interesting to watch.
Johan, is Jan Raas still alive?
Yeah.
Does he have any presence? I mean, I think I know none.
Jan Raas was, I think he went to the Tour de France 2 years ago or 3 years ago for the first time in many years. He has, a very, very simple life. He never goes to bike races, never goes and gives any interviews. He is in charge of the canteen of the local football club of the village where he lives. And he's having a simple.
What the heck is a canteen? Like a bar?
Like the cafeteria. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, where he plays cards with his friends every day. So that's the life he has chosen. And listen, he's good on him. He lives a simple life, and he's happy.
Also, the second Dane to win. Only 2 Danes. I'm surprised to see that there were only 2 Danish winners of the Tour de France in all of its history. And of course, the last one, and the first one, was Bjarne Riis, going back to 1996. Clearly, for Jonas Vingegaard, this changes his life. He was already, I think, in that country after last year's performance, was going to be a big star. But now, this is just right into the stratosphere. Then it gets all these questions. How big does he get in his home country? It's a very small country that's bike crazy. How big does he get? How does that affect him?
Just the fact that it started there this year already had them going crazy.
What a year for the Danes. Oof. I mean, it was as if it was made in heaven.
And as we've seen with the Colombians, once they get that momentum rolling, we're going to see more and more successes out of them, I'm sure.
And 2 other Danish stage winners. Except a part of Vingegaard.
Yeah. I think we hit up our good friend Brian Holm just to get get his perspective on. He is in Denmark, or maybe he's at the Tour now. But
I haven't listened to it yet, so there could be a lot of F-bombs.
Could be with Holm. You never know what he says. But we just wanted to get a sense for his perspective on what this means for Vingegaard, what this means for the country, for what it means for cycling in Denmark. How is he equipped to handle this? And again, we haven't listened to it, so God forbid.
And this is why you come watch us, because you never know what's going to happen. We have no idea what he's going to say. Let's get ready.
Here we go.
I just have to figure out how the bloody microphone here is working.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, I think when you're winning the Tour, you have two options. One, you're leaving your wife, you have diamonds earring, you move to Monaco, you marry a pop star, you be buying a Lamborghini, and you fuck up your life, but you can't handle all the fame. You know what I'm saying? Option number 2, you will reach the sky, but you will keep the feet on the ground. A little bit like Miguel Indurain style. I think sometimes it's very good to be a little bit boring. I think Jonas Vingegaard, he just more or less will stay the same. Good for him.
Perfect. I mean, we truly, that was not a setup. That wasn't a joke. Like, we didn't, he just texted it to George. I mean, you move to Monaco, you fuck up your life, you buy a Lamborghini, you marry a, what was he talking about? I don't see Jonas Vingegaard doing that.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it looks, you know, and especially, you know, seeing his wife there, his young kid, and now we know he was always straight after the finish on the phone with them. You know, whenever there's, I think in 2 instances we saw Pogačar go and congratulate him, and he was already on the phone. So that was with his wife and his daughter.
Today's show also brought to you by HVMN. We have been talking about this the whole time, and it's become quite the news story, and we can even get into it a little bit with Jumbo-Visma and how actively they use ketones. HVMN is on the cutting edge of this. Their new ketone IQ is way more effective, tastes better, and more cost effective. So it has changed the game in this peloton as it has amongst other sports. We rode yesterday with our friend Ashish. First day he tried them.
He was loving it.
He wanted to keep riding. I mean, we were fried. He's like, I think I'm going to go up buttermilk. Legit. I mean, it's the difference in performance is pretty exceptional. So head on over to hvmn.com. Use the promo code THEMOVE20 for 20% off at checkout. Again, that's hvmn.com, and use the promo code THEMOVE20. Last one of the day, last one of the year. This show also brought to you by Wahoo. What a suite of products. As you know, we all love playing with technology and gear, and Wahoo's they got the whole roster now. You've got the indoor kicker bike, which we use extensively in the winter. They got the Rival Sports Watch, which myself and Johan are wearing. Thank you, Johan. The Bolt GPS bike computer, and of course now added to the portfolio, the Speedplay pedals. I've been on them for about 10 years now. Exclusive offer to our listeners, and this expires today. Head on over to wahoofitness.com. Use the code THEMOVE for 20% off. That expires today. So wahoofitness.com, promo code THEMOVE.
Before we talk about the future of Pogačar and Roglic, Johan, what is the prize money surely has doubled in the last decade for winning the Tour,
No, it has not. It has not. I think I remember, Lance, correct me if I'm wrong, and George, you know, when you used to win the Tour, I think it was between 500,000 and 600,000.
It was 500.
Yeah, it was 500,000.
It depends. It depends how many stages you win, how long you're in yellow. You know, it's now. I mean, it's Jumbo-Visma has won 740,000 euros. You know, they also won 6 stages and 3 jerseys. So I think it hasn't changed. It has not changed. And, you know, it may seem a lot, but, you know, what people need to know is that, first of all, the winner of the Tour doesn't get a share, or that's an own decision. But, you know, you don't get a share because you're supposed to get a big enough salary or a bonus or a bigger salary the year after, which in the case of Vingegaard for sure will be the case. And so this is divided. First of all, there's 33% taxes going off to the French government. And then whatever's left is divided between 8, I would say, or 9. So there's 1 or 2 parts for the staff, and then the rest is for the rider. So I think normally, you know, what they will get is per rider probably 40,000.
And which is crazy. So we were talking about a 3-week event, and we are also talking about the team's prize money, not Jonas Vingegaard's prize money. That's over 3 weeks. As successful as the team was, that's in total. That's all the prize money. Compare and contrast. You know, a guy can go play the Masters, win the Masters, play for 4 days, obviously beat all the best golfers in the world. He walks away with more than $3 million. That just, you know.
Well, not only that, but we've seen the sport of the cycling grow so much. The Tour de France is now a global event. And 20 years ago, when you were winning the Tour, it was $500,000 to win, and it was about $500,000 to win Roland Garros. Look up what it is right now to win Roland Garros, several $1 million. Right. I mean, it's the comparison is not really just.
What happens with a guy like Vingegaard's contract? He's got 2 more years. After you pull off something like this, certainly they tear up that contract and write up something new, right?
I'd say he had a pretty nice bonus in there for winning the Tour de France, but he got second place last year. It's not like he's came out of nowhere. So my guess is he's already on a 3 to 5 year deal and with a nice bonus for winning the Tour de France. Yeah,
but I think if he has a good agent, it's most likely that he's going to have negotiated. So probably he signed that deal after being second, and then there's a bonus to win the Tour. And then in some occasions, if your agent is a good negotiator, that bonus is actually added to your base salary for the year after, for the years after. So you get the bonus to win, and then your value goes up for the 2 more years on your contract.
Not only that, if you have a good agent, just ask the man right here to my right, he's going to get a lot of money from endorsements that are non-conflicting with the team. So, of course, he's going to be a Danish superstar now, so he's going to have massive companies after him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, George, that's very, very relative. I think endorsements out of cycling go also together with the personality and the charisma you have.
Yep.
Because it's very different being a good cyclist, a champion cyclist, and it's very different to be a superstar. And personally, I think, it would be anti-natural for Vingegaard. He is not a superstar. He is just, he looks like he's a nice kid, great cyclist. But he's going to have to get used, and it depends on how, if he likes it.
I feel like these days, though, that might be even more valuable. He's like the people will see him as a people person, and I think the companies in Denmark, especially, are going to be fighting over him to endorse their products.
I hope for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you said something to me just a minute ago in our last ad about this is our last read for the tour. It made me feel a little nostalgic. And I always say to myself, I got one thing a friend of mine once said to me is you surround yourselves with faucets, not drains. Look, he's getting kind of nervous, like I'm coming after him or something.
I see this coming.
Surround yourself with faucets and not drains.
Right.
And I feel like we need to give a shout out to our team back of the house.
Pumps, not drains.
Faucets and pumps this whole month to us.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make them feel bad. I want them all to come up one by one, and I'm going to introduce them. Lizzie, come on. Liz Kreutz. This is where we've gotten all of our amazing photography this whole month. Wait, maybe go next to Lance. I don't want to smile.
Hi, Liz.
Or go in the middle.
I don't want to smile.
Go in the middle. Okay. There's. Well, you got to change the camera.
Yeah, there we are. Oh, there we go.
That's much better.
Oh, there it is. I should know where the camera's on.
So every day when we're posting stuff, she's taking these amazing shots. Bring up our head of HR.
And head of S&M. I mean, social media.
Social media.
C. Knott. Courtney Knott.
Everything that we've posted that's been kind of funny this whole month. She's been in charge of these amazing reels. Courtney. And she's an amazing cyclist as well.
She hauls ass on the bike.
We're going to bring Caminator up. Big Cam. Behind the scenes.
That's right. Cam Cushion.
Funny thing about Cam, he doesn't even really work for We Do or The Move, yet you've pulled you into a million
He's got that stash rolling. And then we got Colton. I need you to come back up here too.
It's Colton.
That's what I say, Colton.
It's not...
See, we have all these Zoom meetings with these guys, but nobody gets to see them. Colton is doing a lot of the IT. I mean, getting the show up within 2 hours.
Right.
George, it's Colton.
That's what I said.
Yeah, it's not Colton.
Bolchka's going to kill me.
If you can get Bolch,
is Bolchka coming or not? And this is the man, the jack of all trades, Lance's right-hand man, been around forever. Is he going to come or not? Come on, Bolchka, give us a little love. There we go. There we go. The Bolchkinator. Okay, guys. This is the A-team.
Never wants to be on TV.
These guys made this show happen.
By the way,
thank you all. We love you.
A little side note with Bolch. When did you take this picture of Paris that's behind us?
2000 after the tour.
2000 after the tour?
Wow.
Yeah, very cool. All right.
Wow.
And then ones who are not here, this is a good time to
that
do
wasn't that
this.
hard on you, right?
No, it was great.
Some other thank yous. Other thank yous since we're doing that right now.
We didn't know that next year we'll need a team dentist. Can I just give one quick shout out before you go, JB?
Yeah,
I meant to say it at the top of the show. So as you're listening to this podcast and it starts, you hear that. Anyway, it sounds something like that, like our intro music and our outro music. That was actually created especially for us by the greatest harmonica player of all time, Mickey Raphael, who's been in Willie Nelson's band for a long, long time. When he's not touring with Willie, he's now out on the road with Chris Stapleton. He's the sweetest dude, loves cycling, loves this show. So, Mickey, thank you so much for for being a fan and giving us our own song.
Yeah, Mickey's the man. He's awesome.
He is.
Some other quick thank yous. Lars.
Yeah, Lars.
Who's back in Houston, but he works with all of our partners. Hannah, who has moved on to other things. Hannah Boone did all of our new designs, which you've seen.
She's the best.
Sam back at MJ's. Samantha doing all our fulfillment. Steve and Cindy, Operation Get Out, doing all this behind the scenes. Bikes for Kids Uvalde, getting all that. 27th is when we're planning to be there and distribute that. Mellow Johnny's for doing all the build on that. Again, they've done that for me many, many decades for Bikes for Kids. Ashish, who gets our tech working here. Alon, thank you for the announcements. Johan and Spencer, of course, doing double, triple duty, especially with Outcomes. And Joe Natoli is all those graphics. If you watch the show, very creative. And then, of course, on La Movida, Victor Hugo Pena and Mario Sabato. Thank you so much.
That's right. And did we mention that Johan does like 10 shows a day? I mean, he's our real team leader, our sensei.
This guy went. Yeah,
and he works harder than any of us. So Johan, thank you.
A couple of years ago, he's like, I got a guy who is willing to do a French show with me. Do it in French. And I'm like, dude, how many shows? Like, you're just gonna talk all day? Like, it's impossible.
We're gonna look into that for the future, but yeah, for the moment, I think I'm not bored during the day during the Tour de France.
Speaking of course, Dave Bolge said that he took this photo in 2000. It is worth also noting that the lowest number of finishers since 2000, and of the people who dropped out, we know this was a really hard tour, super fast, super intense, very, very hot. 44% of them dropped out due to COVID positives, but the rest just couldn't, just retired, right? And so, but I think that says a lot at the end of it all, just about how hard and demanding a 3-week race was.
Yeah.
And also the fastest tour in history, above 42 kilometers per hour.
Unbelievable.
And, as predicted, today was the first time we got some images of guys chatting in the peloton and having fun. We haven't seen that in any other of the 20 stages.
And this sets the stage for, if they are healthy, a hell of a showdown next year. And it's hard to say that Pogačar could have done much different, just had the one bad day. But I think Johan did have some thoughts on that, how to shape his season.
Well, and Johan, before you go, Johan, just with the overarching question being, does he come back to the rider that he was the last couple of years? What do we expected him to be this year? Do we see the Pogačar? I hate to even say it because he had a couple of bad days, one especially. But he was still a hell of a ride by him. But do we see the Pogačar of the last 2 years?
Yeah, well, I think first of all that Pogačar was on a really high level, but Vingegaard was on a higher level than last year. And if you look really to 2021 Tour de France, Pogačar got all his time in the first half of the tour. One day with a long attack in the stage to Le Grand Bornand with bad weather, and then another minute in the stage to Tignes, also with bad weather. And from then on, except of the bonifications, he has not been able to take time on Jonas Vingegaard. So I think that Vingegaard really started to be confident, and he was at the same level or higher this year than last year. A little detail that I found out was, how things can change so fastly, right? Jonas Vingegaard last year at the beginning of the season was not in the initial 8 riders for Jumbo-Visma.
You mean for the tour selection?
For the tour selection, yeah. So because Jumbo-Visma announces their tour selection at the beginning of the year. and they have like 10 riders who prepare for that. He was not in there, and he only came in the picture after being in good shape, and after Tom Dumoulin decided that he was not going to go to the Tour. And so, and he came into the Tour de France not as the leader, because let's not forget, Primož Roglič was the leader and he crashed out, right? And then Vingegaard rised up to the occasion and finished second. So I personally think that Vingegaard is, at least at the same level. We'll have to see next year and in the next years if Egan Bernal can come back to his level. That's kind of the same three riders of the same generation. But I personally think that Pogačar made a few mistakes, not only in this Tour de France, and it's not to blame on him. I think it's also a little bit the team. They were super confident and throughout the year. And if you look at his season, right, the guy started to win in February. He destroyed the Tour of UAE. It's their home race, and of course, the Sheikh expects his best star rider to win. But he won that race. He won 2 stages there, but he kept going on. He was incredibly strong in Strade Bianche. He won that. He did 60 kilometers on his own. He won the Tirreno Adriatico plus 2 stages, where Vingegaard was only in a position to watch Tadej Pogačar attack and see him right away. And then he was also 5th in Milan-San Remo, and he was the strongest rider in the Tour of Flanders. Basically everything that he did until the Tour of Flanders, that's completely irrelevant to what happens in the Tour. Right. Even going back to the Tour of UAE. I mean, I don't know what the Sheikh wants or doesn't want. I have a feeling he wants to win the Tour de France. So these things are irrelevant.
Yeah. So I wonder if they take a total different approach next year.
Well, I mean, on the contrary, if you look at Vingegaard, for example, he was second in Tirreno. He was really good, but one level below Tadej Pogačar. He could never ever follow. And then he was 6th in the Basque Country, Tour of the Basque Country. He won one small race, one-day race in France. And then he came to form in the Dauphiné. He was 2nd in the Dauphiné and won 1 stage. And he showed up at the Tour de France in peak form. And he knew that he could maintain that form, because his form curve was on the up. It was still rising, whereas Pogačar had been on a really high level already during the whole year. So I think they need to rethink that. These guys are good, and yes, they race in the beginning, but at the end of the day, if you look at Jonas Vingegaard, he has not shown any weakness at all during this whole Tour de France. There was not a single moment that he was under pressure or on the verge of being in trouble. And I think and same thing is valid for example for the third guy. We have Geraint Thomas. You look at his season. He was 62nd place in Algarve. Settimana Coppi Bartali, he was up there. 39 in the Basque Country, 19th in Romandie, and then finally 1st in the Tour de Suisse. And now he's 3rd in the Tour de France. And on top of that, he said today that he has produced his best numbers ever.
Wow.
Better output than when he won in 2018.
Yep.
So, and he's 7 minutes 22 behind in GC. So, obviously a great performance of Geraint Thomas. He has to be super happy with that. He's been 1st, 2nd, and 3rd now. But this young generation is just on a different level.
Yeah, but nobody really anticipated that coming. I mean, if you consider him doing the numbers, then a guy like David Gaudu gets 2nd. He finishes 6 minutes ahead of 4th place. So he's there. He just, these 2 young guys grew up, came into the sport, and said, "We're going to change the game."
We spent so much time on one rider this tour. We're thinking maybe we roll out another show just called the Move WVA.
Yeah,
all Wout van Aert.
Yeah. This is. We've talked a lot about Wout van Aert. I mean, as we start talking about him, you listeners are doing the thing you do when the podcasters start reading ads. You just like 30 seconds. Oh, they're talking about Wout van Aert again. We'll just skip ahead of this.
They don't do it without it. So.
Hey, speaking of competitions, I know. I think we've covered everything, but we have one competition left to go. And And this is devastating.
I got the yellow. I would be smiling so brightly right now, but I can't.
Our contest with the feed, the bottles selections, you can customize your own bottles with any purchase over at thefeed.com/themove. Here's the final numbers, and they don't lie. I am first place loser. George had 860 votes. I had 831. It was close, closer than I thought it would have been. Close enough to keep me coming back. I mean it.
And your prize
I think you did a great job. You held it.
Would you trade 29 votes for
No, and I know the question.
Here. Would you? I tell you what. I will give you.
Especially since I have to spend the rest of the day with you as well, and I'm not going to hear the end of it. But I assure you, it'll be fixed next time you guys see me.
Also, the move's not over. We just started today with the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift. We had our first show this morning with Alison Tetrick and Mari Holden. That will continue on for another 7 days. It's going to take me some getting used to sitting in the center seat where JB sits. Some big shoes to fill, man.
They're great.
They're great.
Allie and Mari are on point. They know the sport. They know the riders.
Right. And as we talked about on the show this morning, it's the complete opposite of the way the men's tour unfolds, where they have this ceremonial roll into Paris. The Queen stage, the penultimate, the hardest day is the last day of the women's tour. So this one will be exciting all the way through to the end. So we'll be covering that, for another week. So thanks for tuning into that too.
That is. And then one thing, guys, I wanted to mention. Yesterday, I heard you talk about the Move Mallorca camp and the Move Colombia camp.
Yeah, are you coming?
Yeah, well, you forgot to name me, and I kind of have my feelings hurt, because I wrote it down in my agenda. So I just want to say that I'm even if you don't invite me, I'm inviting myself again. Right?
Well, that's what's great, Johan, because the people that do the camp get to feel what it's like to have you as a director. You follow us in the car. You give them sort of advice on how they're riding and what they can expect for the next climb. So I think that's part of it's not. I know that makes this experience even more special.
And if you're like our friend Jay and you get tired, you just ride in the car with Johan.
Or run half naked next to us and yelling at us.
Those are good times. So lots of.
So 7 to 14th of November, the move Colombia in Medellin.
And Lance is going to join for the last part of that camp. So you'll have myself and Johan and Victor.
And Victor, Yep.
That'd be great. All right, everybody. It's been a fun 3 weeks. And I think, I'll just say, I think this squad up here, I don't know, something was different this year. We were grooving.
No, we appreciate it. And one more thank you. Everybody who donated to Bikes for Kids Uvalde.
I
mean, we went one more graphic. We exceeded our goal.
Blew out our number. Wow, we're
the goal was 230,000. We went to 265,532, which means doing some more camps down there for those kids, teaching them some skills, stocking them up on spare tires and tubes and pumps. And now we're looking at getting some bikes for faculty as well.
Great. We really appreciate it. All right, kids, we'll see you guys. Spring. We'll do some Vuelta shows. We'll do the Fall Classics, the World Championship. So we won't be far. But thanks for tuning in for this tour. It's been a hell of a good time.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thank you.